Hello, and thank you for joining the Champion Within podcast, your premier go-to spot for unlocking your winning mindset. Whether you're an athlete looking to elevate your game to the next level, a coach leading the charge, an enthusiastic parent cheering from the sidelines, or an educator molding young minds, the Champion Within podcast episodes are packed with value, sharing the tools and strategies to unlock your potential and rise to new heights. Hosted by mentor, coach, and mindset leader Kate McCauley. Let's sit back and enjoy today's episode while discovering your champion within. And now, here's Kate.
Hey champions, thank you for joining me on the Champion Within. I have the privilege to work with a lot of different people. I get to work with athletic teams from high school, college to professional teams. I also get to work in schools, corporate spaces. My heart is divided in a lot of different places, but when I can work with someone one-to-one, I really get to know this person. I am like their hype woman. I'm so proud of them. I'm with them on days that things are tough too, and we just kind of navigate through the journey. Today, you get an inside peek with one of my favorite one-to-ones, and I know I love all of you, but really, Krystal was always willing to just say it how it was when we would have our calls. You're going to learn about mindset coaching a little bit. We're going to talk mostly about her and her journey. All of us are probably going to have a pen out writing down some one-liners because she always has them when we talk. So get ready for that. Before I start talking with Krystal, I do want to read her bio. I asked her to send this to me, and I think she was a little humble. I'm not going to lie, but let me share that with you, and then we'll get talking. First, I'm a proud mom. I'm also a devoted wife and daughter, a hardworking woman in the healthcare field. I've built a business rooted in care, compassion, and community. Now I'm expanding my passion for helping others into the world of real estate, where I can continue making a difference and bring joy to people as they find their dream home. Seeing others happy and thriving is what drives me every single day. Krystal, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing good. If I had to rank the day, I'm probably around an 8 out of 10. It's been a busy, but productive day.
That's a plus. That's a plus for a Monday.
It is. You know, honestly, I don't even think I was thinking like this is a Monday because I was doing so many different things. I'm really excited to talk with you. And in the process of doing all of these things today, I went back and I looked at some of the things that we talked about. And I'm not going to share all the intimate details, of course, with the listeners. Sorry, you're not getting that, people. But I did look at things that you told me after we worked together, some testimonials and different things. So that's where I actually want to start. And I went all the way back to the first time we talked. And after working together, I think this might have been for a 3-month period, you said that you believed the positive about yourself as much as believing the negative. And then every and anything was possible, and that you were able to use your tools. Tell my audience, before we go into a little bit more about who you are, what kind of mindset tools are you using today that maybe we learned together or you've developed after mindset coaching?
I would say my biggest tool that you have taught me is whether I believe in myself or I believe I can't do something. Either way, it's going to come true. So I have learned to accept the things that I can't do or don't love, and have learned to focus that energy in areas that I have. My favorite, as you know, is the I hate running. I swore I was going to be a runner. I swore cardio was my thing. And then that one day I called you and said, I'm done. I hate running. I'm never doing this again.
You know, sometimes I use that example when I'm talking with people. And I tell them, you need to be honest. You thought for a long time, well, I have to run. I have to run to get back into good shape. And when you sent me that message and we finally talked, I'm like, wait, you've been running outside. You're running on a treadmill. You're doing all these things and you hate running. Like you have to. Yeah. So it was a breakthrough moment from that point on when we've worked together. Sometimes I'll even come back to that and be like, are you doing this because you think you're supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
doing this? Or is this something you really want to do? Like the I hate running situation. You're not the only woman who does that kind of thing.
Oh, definitely
We,
not.
yeah, we all have these shoulds and supposed tos. That is something that maybe people started telling us when we were little girls or we're seeing on social media. And it's really a powerful thing when you can have that
Absolutely.
aha moment, whether it's I hate running or I want to do something else in my career. So along those lines, health has been a really big part of your journey. It's had a ripple down, trickle down effect, whatever we want to call it, into your kids.
Yes,
So
it has.
tell me, how has mindset helped you become, a healthier person or the best version of yourself?
Well, I think once I learned that I hate running and strength training was more of my thing, it actually helped me bond with my teenage son because we all know teenagers, they're very secluded. They want you to know what they want you to know. It's, how was your day? Nothing. So having that strength training aspect, which I know he's into as well, kind of opened up our relationship. It brought out the challenges in us, like, oh, I could do that too. Well, if mom can do it, I have to be stronger than her. And then before we knew it, we had my 6-year-old down there with us with, her little 1-pound weights in our home gym, trying to do things with us as well. So I think it really opened our horizon, so to speak. It gives us time to talk without being at the table, staring eye to eye. And it's more so a comfort environment where you're just opening up, you're having a good time. We vary with music. One minute it's his song playing, the next minute it's mine. And next thing I know, he's jamming out to Katy Perry. He'll never admit it.
Right.
But it just opens up a whole new world when you find that you're having fun because you're being healthy physically, but you're also being healthy now mentally and emotionally as well.
Yeah, I always loved when we would get on calls and you would tell me about your kids saying, well, I was going to maybe not do it. And your daughter would be like, come on, we need to do this. She's like a
Oh yeah,
miniature woman.
she's like my little bodyguard. She tells me what I have to do and what I can't do. And I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong, but geez, come on.
Right, right. That, she's blunt, like obvious with you. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
really such a good thing for her to see you taking care of yourself and doing that. And when she jumps in, they really are, they're sponges all the way through
Oh yeah.
teenage years too, not just those little ages. And then when you would be competing, I feel like it might have been, was it push-ups or abs or something that you were competing with your son?
Yep. Yep. It was the push-up challenge with me and him. And then obviously I won that one. So he got me with the sit-ups knowing he would win. So then she was determined to find something she would beat us in.
Right. I don't even know if I told you this, but my youngest, who's the same age as your oldest, after you must have told me about that, I said to him, you know what? I'm going to challenge you. We would go to Planet Fitness together. We still do. And when we would leave, we would sprint. I don't know if I told you about this, but we would sprint from the door of Planet Fitness to our car, or if my husband came with us, to his truck. And in the beginning, I was beating him, and then he was getting faster and faster, and I just couldn't catch the
I
kid.
love it.
Yeah, it was fun for us. And the people in the gym started to even like wait for it to happen because he tried to cheat a couple times. Like as I was like saying goodbye, he would like get to the, I'm like, no, like you're cheating. And really that was inspired by hearing you and your son having those movement, like competition type thing. And it was, like you said, just they can relate to it. It's
Mhm.
fun. When we take care of ourselves as moms, as women, we are doing it for ourselves. But a lot of times I'll admit I do it because I feel like I want to be a better version for my kids.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Would you say that when you first decided to do the mindset coaching, that you were thinking about yourself, about your kids, a combination of both? What made you decide to even reach out to me, if you can remember?
Um, I needed to be the best version I could be for them. I will admit everything I do. I stop, I think, how will this impact them in their future? I know that I needed to get in a better mindset. I needed to get better physically, mentally, and emotionally, especially after everything with COVID, and it gave us that weird lifestyle for them to encourage them not antagonize them. Also to find the difference. So I not only have a big age gap in my kids, but I have a boy, then a girl, then another boy. What I knew as life with one as a boy became totally different at that age with life with a girl of two. So it was a matter of giving me the coping skills, the everyday skills I needed to be a working parent. I feel like in today's world, we are asked to parent like we don't work, and we're asked to work like we don't parent. So I needed to be able to, especially when I work from home full time, I needed to find that boundary. It was no longer leave your problems at the door, home problems home, work at work. Now it's the same four walls all the time. So it was a matter of adjusting. It was a matter of life-changing moments with the kids, getting out of that unhealthy lifestyle from COVID and becoming more positive, both mindset and physically.
Now, audience, I got to tell you, I told you she was going to drop some lines, and I'm sitting here nodding my head. Those who are listening to the audio, when you said we need to parent like we don't work and work like we don't parent, I think every working mom right now is like nodding her head saying,
Oh, yeah.
yes. And I feel like we've heard that before, but we don't always do something about it.
No.
We kind of like bitch and complain and say like, oh, this is expected. And it is heavy. It is. And there's a guilt. And I personally experience it too. There's this mom guilt. Am I doing enough? Was there a time where you can think of where you used one of those mindset tools to either set that boundary, do something where you could work and still be a good mom? Is there a time?
Oh, yeah. I would say I do it every day now. I like to just think about multiple conversations we've had about the growth of myself and the growth of the kids. And then I realize they're only little ones. And I think I told you this, after having the third, I realized how fast time goes. So, now that they're all back in school because summer's over and the baby's in daycare and preschool, I take that opportunity when they're home to sit and listen to their day. And I like to hear what's important to them. Or when they say, can I talk to you? I will put everything down to have that conversation with them now, because I realize those moments are scarce. Like I said, having a teenager say, hey, can I talk to you about something? I'm like, oh yeah,
Right.
what now?
Yeah,
And
please.
then, right. And it goes so fast. The time flies by. I remember when my oldest was a baby and I look back thinking, gosh, I'm a kid myself. I had him young. How am I going to navigate this life? And now I look at him in his teenage years, getting ready to celebrate another birthday this week. And I'm like, gosh, where has the time gone? And if you asked me 15 years ago if I would be here, I would have said absolutely not. We would have been on the struggle bus the whole time. But here we are. I mean, granted, it was the support of love and family and friends that got us through it. But the mindset was complete key change with mine and his relationship, and just treasuring the moments I have with them while they're young.
I love so much of that. Before we keep talking, because my audience is probably thinking, all right, what's exactly the age of these kids? So how you said he's about to be 15 or about to be 16?
Yep, he'll be 15 on Friday.
Okay. And then your daughter, how old is she?
She is 6, going on 25.
Of course, right? I think those of us my middle is a daughter too, and I feel like that was always the case with us.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then your youngest little guy, how old is he now?
He is 20 months.
Okay. So
And
for
the
my
temper and
listeners,
terrible twos are kicking in already.
oh, yeah. But as you said, there's going to be moments where you're like, I wish I was maybe not in the terrible spot, but back in the twos. Like, my kids are a little bit older. We used to always joke that I was like a couple steps ahead of you because I have one in college, a senior, and then, your oldest is my youngest, the same grade. You had your oldest when you were younger. And so there's that big gap in between. I'm curious. You had just said, if I said to anyone 15 years ago, we would be on the struggle bus. When you're looking back at that now, and you mentioned your family, your friends, the mindset, and really, I was only a small bit of your journey. And I always tell you and everyone I work with that you have to do the work.
Oh, yeah.
I could say all these things to you. We have our calls, you can connect with me in between calls, but really you have to do the work. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? You were talking about
No.
right? Tell me about a moment either pre-mindset or after using mindset where it wasn't sunshine and rainbows. And, maybe we could even talk about what you would have done before mindset and now what you do differently when things got tough.
Sure. I can talk about a time when I was working 3 jobs. I was determined as a single mom to give my oldest a Christmas by myself. So for the audience, I was 19 when I had my son. I will never forget this one Christmas. Not Christmas, but before Christmas leading up to it, I was working 3 jobs, one full-time, 2 part-time. And my mom was my biggest supporter, my best friend. To this day, I know she'll always have my back and help me in any way she can. I remember she said to me, and it stuck with me. She said, "You can't keep being absent to give him a full holiday." And I remember the superhero in me said, I would rather be absent while he's young and doesn't realize I'm missing than absent when he hits his first home run or scores his first bucket or scores his first touchdown and looks and I'm not there. So I'd rather burn myself out now when he doesn't notice, and then when he's older, he can appreciate everything we did to get him what he wanted in life.
Gotcha.
And that still to this day sticks with me. There's times when they go to bed and I'm really tired. I'm like, you know what? Let me just get these emails off. Let me just get this paper typed up. And I just keep it moving. Just that little bit of extra time while they're asleep. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, I should probably get rest. I know self-care is key. But I know I'm not doing it on their time, which makes a world of difference.
Definitely. That's really powerful that your mom shared that with you. You can't be absent. You need to give them the full holiday. A lot of times, maybe it's the shoulds and the supposed to's again come creeping into our brains. And we have to sit back and think, hey, you're right. What does it actually mean? And to be there when they have those moments is incredibly important. And I think that goes back to that work-life balance for mom. We hear all the things that would be great on a poster or an Instagram post. And even myself doing the mindset stuff, sometimes I'm leery to even say self-care and different things because I'm like, people are like, like I have time for that, But I think what you were really describing is time management, chunking your time, and being willing to walk away sometimes, and whether or not you own it or not, we've talked about this, you are well respected when it comes to your professional journey in the healthcare industry and running businesses. Nobody is going to ever say, and if they do, they're probably not your people or where you want to be, like, oh, you didn't respond to that email in like 32 minutes. You responded like 2 hours later or the next morning. No one has ever said it to me, but I have felt like,
Correct.
Even today, I was recording the podcast. I saw something come in on my phone, which normally I do not disturb, so I can be focused. And I've been recording all day. And I saw something come in from a new client. And I had this panic, like, I should be texting this person back, but I would never not have my conversation with my podcast guest, So I was like feeling torn. My daughter's actually home because it's senior skip day, which is so weird that they tell their parents about senior skip day now. I'm like, wait, I know from my oldest, like we call them out now. I'm like, this isn't real. Like this, anyway, she's home. So I'm like, maybe I could spend some time with her. All the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to set those boundaries and be willing to say, you know what? I'm going to get to that when I get to it. I'm going to send those emails. Sometimes we just need to be reminded and have someone say, wait a minute, did you hear what you just said? Your mom saying that is so powerful.
Well, even with you saying, did you hear what you just said? That it's funny how kind of life goes full circle because I remember being the little kid and I remember my mom working 2 jobs because growing up, my dad was ill with heart issues. And I remember my grandparents helping out. And to this day, like we laugh and joke about it now because I said, remember that time you lectured me and I got like so bitter, like, no, I'm working hard and I'm going to do this. I said, and meanwhile, I remember my grandfather giving my mom the same lecture of you need to be there for her. You need to be working with her with this, with that. And I remember her being in tears saying she's doing the best she can with what life's given her at the moment.
Right.
So it is amazing how once you're kind of out of that phase, as I like to call it, you can see it full circle so that you can help the next person who enters that phase of like, yeah, you don't see any light and you don't even see a tunnel right now, but you will
Mhm.
get through it some way, somehow. And you'll look back and think, how the hell did I get through it? But I did.
Right. It's so true. And someone said something very similar to me, probably when my youngest was starting school, because he had like ADHD, dyslexia, all these things. And she was sharing about her son, and she said something very similar. We can only do the best we can with the information we have at that time,
Absolutely.
and you don't know what's happening like with his brain, all these things. He was going through all kinds of testing. And then it's funny, I now find myself saying that to other people who are saying like, can I ask you about my kid who's dealing with this? So you have to be willing to trust people who've walked the path before you. Sometimes that feedback can sting because
Oh,
we
yeah.
think we're doing the best we can. Is there some sort of tool that you use in conversations so that you don't spit fire? I often laugh at your Facebook post, and you and I are very similar when you're saying like,
We are.
oh, like, this could get crazy depending on the day kind of thing. I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but is there something you do so that you can just pause and not react, but instead respond?
I The only tool I can say is that I do stop. I
Okay.
stop and I think. Between both you and my mom, my question was, and even my husband too, does this matter? Does this matter 6 minutes from now, 6 weeks from now, 6 months, 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
And if that answer is going to be no, what is the purpose of feeding into it? Our world is as negative can be some days. So
Yeah.
really, why add to it? I mean, even, there's times where you could tell people to have a great day and they could be snarky as can be with you because of the morning they're having.
Right.
Then there's people who are quiet and keep to themselves who have so much going on. Just them going outside is a big deal. So
Mhm.
I try to just stop and think, I don't know what they're going through. Especially working in healthcare full time, these people aren't here because they want to be here. They didn't get a friends and family discount coupon,
Right.
in a book. They're here because they have to be. They're scared, whether it's for a family member or themselves. So I try to just keep that mindset of, okay, you are not here because you want to be. You're not taking it out on me. It's a lot less personal, but how can I
Mhm.
help you through it? And then the reverse side is I have snippy days where it just blurts out.
Sure.
And then I catch myself and I'll look, I'll walk back to my son or I'll walk back to my husband, be like, I'm really sorry. That was me. That wasn't you. I think I've told you that line multiple times.
Yeah.
It's me today. It's not you. So I apologize. I'll take it and I'll work from it.
And just realizing that in itself is mindfulness. I
Yes.
myself have done the same thing, especially when I was still teaching. I would be so stressed all day long trying to, like you said, working in the healthcare industry when I was a teacher. I couldn't take it out on a kid who was having a bad day. And of course, I didn't want to. So I had to carry a lot of the trauma that they were bringing
Mm-hmm.
into school and help them navigate through. And I wasn't necessarily dealing with it myself. And then it would spill over into the ride home with my own kids. But now, after a lot of work, personal, growth, that I can say, my fault. I just freaked out. Like, it's going to happen. Sometimes people think like, oh, like she's doing all these things. Like it must be. No, like we all have these moments. It would be crazy if someone said they didn't. So I remember one of our calls, and I don't even remember what happened, but your son flipped it. And you shared a
Mm-hmm.
story with me that he said, it's me today,
Yeah.
which is really
I'll
kind of
never,
cool when
I,
kids
I
say
can
that.
remember it. We were right at our kitchen island and he was just so nasty. And my husband said, I'm going to walk away because I'm going to be mean if I stay here. And he had walked
Right.
outside. And I remember looking at him and said, hey, bud, so do you remember when there's a time when I was like yelling and you were frustrated with me and I was frustrated with you? And then I came back and apologized and I said, it's me. And he said, yes. And I said, it's you today. You
Mhm.
have to realize it's you. And then he didn't want to hear it. He was good and
Sure.
annoyed, stormed up to his room, took a nap, came back downstairs and goes, it was me today. I said, I'm
Right.
aware it was definitely you, but I'm so glad that you took the time to realize it yourself. So that's an important part. And then we laughed about it afterwards because my husband said, oh, it was definitely you.
I'm interrupting this podcast to simply say this. I want to love more people. If that's you, your teenager, the organization that you're connected with in some way, I would love for you to set up a free call. I want to tell you that I help people win. I meet them where they are. I get them to where they want to go. We set goals. I help them stay accountable. All kinds of different tools like breath work, visualization, reframing, productive self-talk. When I'm working with a sports team, sometimes it's a one-time session. Other times I come every month throughout the season and even in the off season for some teams. If I'm at an elementary school, I roll out a red carpet, mirrors line the gym. They learn body language, self-talk, confidence strategies so that they can be the best possible student. I run workshops at the middle school and high school level. I get to do keynote talks and workshops in professional development settings, in schools, with teachers, in the corporate space. I don't really have a catchy slogan, but I want to tell you that people are less stressed. They're not as anxious. They have tools in their pockets that they're using. Their brains are retrained. Students are more calm. Their nervous system is regulated. Teachers, coaches, principals, leaders in business spaces message me and tell me, oh my goodness, this is actually working. I want to love more people. And if that's you, use the appointment link below. If it's not you, do me a huge favor and tell someone about me. So I'm going to leave it at, I want to love more people, and I hope that's you or someone that you can connect me with. Go down to the show notes, click on that link. All right, let's get back to the conversation. Right. And that's kind of the cool thing that happens with mindset. People always come to me, whether it's one-to-one coaching, it's a group thing with a team, or like a business place that I'm in, and they come for one or two reasons. And then what always happens is they come back and say, I taught my mom how to do this, or my kids are now doing this, because you literally become a different person when you start retraining your brain to pay attention when you like freak out and have to say, it's me. And then your kids pick up on that. So it's almost like the side effects of the mindset training. It's really everyone that you are around, you work with, your personal life. And it's almost like if they're going to be near you, it's not like you're teaching them, but you're role modeling it for them.
Yeah, exactly. You're teaching them unexpectedly to learn what they live. And if you're living by example, they'll learn by example.
Yeah, 100%. I was looking back since I knew this call was coming, and it's coming to mind where you're saying that he didn't want to hear it or have the conversation. And you sent me a text one day when it was a scheduled appointment, and it was a long text, and you were like apologetic, and you said, it's been one hell of a week. Can we just cancel today? Because I can't be the person I need to be today. I saw that text. Now, sometimes people have to legitimately change, my one-to-one clients, because like they're stuck on a call or something happens. I saw that text and I was like, okay, she actually does need the mindset stuff. And my response was, we don't have to have a full coaching call. Can we have do you have 5 minutes? And you wrote back, I have 5 minutes. And we ended up not really having our typical coaching call, but we just talked about something. And I remember thinking, I know she didn't want to, but you needed to. And I myself will admit that's when I have to use the mindset tools when things are tough, even more, even if I don't want to. So what would you say to someone if they were thinking, I don't even know, like we're on the struggle bus right now. I don't even get this mindset stuff. Is it like woo-woo? What the heck are you actually doing? Because we keep talking like, oh, we talked about this, we talked about that. But somebody could be listening right now thinking, I don't know, I still don't really even know what the hell they're doing. Describe it in your own words. What did we do when we worked together?
We enhanced my mindset as far as stopping and thinking, seeking clarity in different situations, and kind of just understanding life. I mean, you'll never really understand life, right? And I think it's an acceptance. Let me use that. It's accepting what is, what you have the ability to change, what you have the ability to control, and what you don't. So have the ability to accept and move on. To not take things so personal all the time, to realize that you don't have to impress the world. I myself am very big, as this call probably knows by now, is my family. So the only people I have to impress are them. If I don't want to impress them that day, I don't have to. I just have to be there and be present for them. So the fact of just accepting life, accepting that things change. I
Hmm.
think you may remember on one of our calls, we went to the same vacation spot for years and
Right.
it got washed away in a hurricane and everything was destroyed. I think I cried for 3 weeks over that.
Yeah.
And now we've built new relationships, we've built new traditions, and just keeping family close no matter where you go, no matter what the change is. And that's going to be my word, is acceptance, is what you've taught me.
Well, I love that. And you definitely did the work there. I do remember different conversations. It would start out with, we would check in with each other. How are things going? I would do, let's breathe and just get ourselves focused because, as you said, we're in so many different places. We wear so many hats as women. So we had to ground in and get a couple breaths or even just like relax head to toe type of thing. Which I'm sure my words were something along the lines of, you don't have to show up a certain way. You know, when you said, like, I
Yep.
can't be the person I need to be on the call today because we think we should. I remember that conversation about your vacation spot. And I remember saying to you, yeah, you're grieving this. And you were like, oh my God,
Hmm.
I am grieving this. And I think you knew, but a lot of times it would just be accepting what is happening here
Yep.
and allowing yourself to be in it. You know, I use a tool sometimes called RAIN, recognize, allow, nurture, investigate. Why is it happening to me? And then we would make an action plan. A lot of times it was like with your health or conversations with the kids, relationships in general. It was work sometimes. It would be, okay, what am I going to do? Because that's the key part of mindset training. It is all of the reframing and accepting, but taking action. A lot of times
Hmm.
people come to me and think that it's therapy, and I think therapy has its place, you know, and is a very important thing. I'm like, that's not what I am. I meet you where you are. We make an action plan and we step in that direction. And sometimes the action plan works the way we think it's going to work. And other times it's, I hate running.
Yeah.
I
Freaking
hate
hate
running. And you can change it, you know? And I literally
it.
think I probably tell most people who work one-to-one at some point, I'm like, let me tell you a little story. We talk about I hate running. When you're thinking about those action plans, and then at the end, I should tell people I do this visualization that I've added in. I wasn't doing this in the beginning. So if you were a first time client, you're probably like, what the hell? I didn't get that. But as I've gotten better with my coaching and more certifications, at the end, I do a short visualization so you can see yourself doing that action plan. I do this with my teams too at the end of every workshop. When you do that, you retrain your brain.
You
I'm
do.
curious, and I know you're always honest, and I really want the feedback. What is the hardest part when you're thinking about when we've had calls? Is it relaxing in the beginning? Is it talking about what's going on? Is it being willing to see that and allow acceptance? You know, maybe it is something else going on here that I'm not seeing. Is it the visualization, you know, getting yourself to see it? What did you find was difficult for you?
Two things. The one, closing the eyes, because I feel like a bad kid whenever someone tells me, and even in school when you were literally like, close your eyes. It's like you always feel like you always have to keep one open to look.
Okay,
um,
right.
and probably the visualization, because it took me so long to accept
Hmm.
that I don't love things that I thought I had to, or that accept the things that I hate that I thought was wrong for hating, and seeing myself in different areas. I'll use real estate as the big key. And even
Mhm.
my degree, why did I get that degree? Not because I really wanted a diploma to hang on my wall, but because somebody told me I couldn't. And then
Mhm.
same with real estate. Somebody else told me, well, that test is impossible. I doubt you'll pass it. Okay, challenge accepted. And I'm a
Right.
very challenging person. So I think once I started accepting things, I was able to see the visions a lot clearer. In the beginning, when we were doing them, I just remember my mind almost was like, I like to call myself the squirrel. It was going a mile a minute of,
Sure.
well, what do I still have to do on my to-do list, versus just stopping and pausing and seeing that vision of what I would be like when my to-do list was checked off.
Right. And I think that's so true for so many people. No one has ever said the eyes thing to me before, but it makes so much sense because even myself, I'm thinking back in school and they were like, oh, heads up, 7-Up, you know, if
Yeah.
anyone ever played that game and you're like not wanting to
Always
be,
got an eye open.
yeah, you like want to follow the rules, but you're like, oh, I kind of want to look. I always tell people if we're on a call, I will say that if it's a group coaching call or if it's one-to-one and we're on like a Zoom, I actually turn my camera off and I'll tell for the visualization part and I tell them they can turn their camera off. If we're on a phone call, obviously we can't see each other. And I will say, even in workshops when we're together in person, if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, and some people feel like you're saying, I'm sure many of them are like, I should be closing my eyes, but they're like peeking at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to remind myself now to maybe even give that example. Like, it's okay if you can't close your eyes because it is a little awkward if
Yeah.
you've never done the visualization. Even, you know, when I first started doing it myself, which is probably, oh my gosh, 15 years ago now, but it's a practice. And I think when, you know, the longer you do something, and we had calls every other week. So when you would start to do it more often, you can almost let go of that to-do list. And I tell people, you have to come back to it. I'm not like magic beans or like sprinkling fairy dust here. Well, thank you for being honest with that and just being willing to say, my mind wanders to the to-do list. And again, I keep thinking about how many roles we have as moms and working moms. Speaking of that, with the real estate thing and challenge accepted, I feel like you said that a lot when we would talk. You would be like, well, I'm going to show them challenge accepted.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can do this, that, and the other thing. And you really have accomplished so many things. Sometimes I would have to remind you, like, look at all the things and people at work and different things, like telling you, like, pay attention and listen. Let's talk about that. You started a business and then now you're in real estate. Let's talk about one, what's the first business and how did you even decide to start that?
So that's actually a funny story. So the business I own is a cleaning business, and we service Delaware County, a little bit of Chester, Montgomery County. Right now, we're just mainly in Delco. I started that business in 2021 after the pandemic, August of 2021 to be exact. And that business came along because my husband and I were on vacation with my family and the kids, and we had a little bit of it started out as like a joking conversation that kind of got heated. And
Okay.
I'll never forget him saying that in today's world, you can't trust a corporate lifestyle to be your forever thing. You always have to have some type of backup that you can control if you want, like for your family, for a lifestyle, for money and finances and everything.
Right.
And I said, well, I remember sitting here, I'll show him, I can come up with something. And then when we used to go on family vacations, he didn't get the same time off that I got. So he would come down for part of it and then leave for part of it. So I was over at this dollar store one rainy afternoon in Florida, and I picked up a notebook and I was jotting everything down. And I was like, you know what? Minimum requirements, minimum, money down to start a cleaning business. I'm just going to start from scratch. Who
Right.
wants to clean after being in the pandemic and being in your house that long? You realize how, dirty it is, or what paint job you needed, or what you wanted to change. So I decided to give it a go, and I did cleaning on nights and weekends. I had two really good family friends that helped me along the way. They lost their jobs with COVID and decided to, they needed money as well. So they
Right.
helped me along. By that January, I had outgrew myself because I am still working full time, and I was at that time for healthcare. That I was ready to just kind of throw in the towel. I couldn't keep up with it. I couldn't keep up with getting back to people, getting people scheduled, doing the cleanings. And then the two main family friends that I had, they were getting ready to leave because they found either a new role or their job opened back up.
Okay.
And that just so happens to be when my awesome mom retired and said, you work too hard to just let it go. I'll help you. To this day, she keeps reminding me that she retired for a reason, even
Right.
though she's still running point on everything. So I am very grateful for her help, but it did take off. So when she took over, we had 17 clients, and two of which were businesses. Now we have over 150 residential clients, and we have, I believe I want to say 10 to 12 businesses at this point.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it
Yeah,
really
I
picked
never
up.
knew that
It's been great.
story.
Yeah, it was
I
awesome.
mean,
So, and it was so funny. We came back from vacation. We get back to that, and I remember sitting there showing him with my notebook, and I had him like cornered, so he had to see it. And I was like, "See, I can do this too." And he was like, "All right, go for it." But he also knows me. He knows how, tell her she
right.
can't do something, and she'll have it done.
Yeah, I never knew that that's how the company started. That's really
hmm
cool. And the growth is pretty epic
Oh
over
yeah,
this time.
not a paid cent for marketing. Everything has been word of mouth and all social media platforms. So if anybody out there is listening has a business, utilize your social media platforms. They're great.
Yeah, 100%. So while we're at that business, do you have a link or is it social media where people should connect with you if they say, oh, well, I'm in that area and I actually want them to clean my house? Where
Yeah,
do they connect?
absolutely. They can find us right on Facebook under Krystal Clean, and a Krystal with a K and Clean with a K as well. It's a little cartoon person with blonde hair to represent myself.
Love it. And I will put the show notes down below this episode. So anyone listening, you can just click on that and make
Thank you.
sure that, yeah, definitely that they can connect with you. So you're pretty busy, but then you
Yep,
decided, I remember on one of our calls that, I don't know if you had taken the real estate test. I'm trying to think back when you first mentioned it to me, but you now have your real estate license.
correct.
I
Yes.
remember you talking about wanting to do it, but I can't remember if that started when we were coaching with each
I
other or if
started
it was
school when we were coaching. Yeah.
okay, you started the real estate school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was trying to think about that journey for you. Tell people a little bit about that because if we're being honest, it wasn't perfect, right?
Oh
You had
gosh,
to
no.
kind of study and block your time out to do that. And then we'll get into how people can reach you for that as well. So you're not busy enough, but you decided, you know what, I think I might want to do this
Yeah,
real
what's
estate
one
thing.
more? What's one more thing?
Right. So
So
tell us about it.
my husband's a property investor. He also has what his own little side business is. He buys and rents properties. We have some local here, and then he has some at the beach as well. I like to call him real life Monopoly
Okay.
because he loves the board game and he loves it in real life. But I don't know. I just wanted to take my love of helping others in healthcare to a different level to still help people achieve the goals they thought
Hmm.
were once impossible, and get them where they want to be. And it is kind of like a mindset as well of just knowing you can do this, not always thinking, oh, I don't have money for that. I don't have credit for that. I can't do this. I can't do that. You could do whatever you put your mind to. As far as anybody thinking about being a real estate agent, I highly suggest it. Schooling is not for me. I made it through it. What I've learned thus far now with having my license only for a month is that everything you learn in that textbook, probably going to use about 10% of it. They're going to
Sure.
teach you everything else that you really need to know. So it was fun. It was frustrating. It was time consuming. But at the end, in my opinion, it's going to be totally worth it because I get to help people. I get to help find them what they want, help them sell what they need to sell,
Mhm.
all while finding balance and still having time for my family while giving others hope.
And that's really just a cool thing to be able to journey through with people. I know when we've bought our homes, it can be a lot when you walk into a house and be like, oh my God, this place is horrible. And on the flip side, it can be like, oh my gosh, I could see my whole family living here.
Mm-hmm.
You get to help them find that place or say, yeah, you're right, this isn't for you. The piece where you said you can do it around your family and schedule, of course, you have to work with your clients too, but to schedule that in is really something that, like we were talking about with the working mom thing, that is something that you could do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like so far about it? What's your favorite part? Have you been able to get out there yet? I know you're fairly new at it, but
Right now I'm kind of just marketing myself. I haven't
okay.
actually gotten out there yet, but the support that I've gotten from friends and family I never expected to ever hear from regarding this,
Okay, cool.
coming out of the woodwork, like, yes, once I'm going to be ready to sell, you're my go-to, or I'm so glad I know somebody in this market now. And also, I think the part that I really like too is before I was a real estate agent, I always looked at it as competitive market.
Mhm.
That, if you knew a real estate agent and I knew a real estate agent, they couldn't be friends because they both wanted us to be their sellers and buyers. When in
Okay.
reality, it's not. It's a big networking, communicative effort. The more people you know in or out of the field, kind of the better off you are because, you may be having a house hit the market and it might be everything that a
Hmm.
potential buyer of mine was looking for.
Right.
So, granted,
Makes
yes, it
sense.
hits the market, but you might keep me in mind now thinking, okay, well, I know your person was looking for this type of house. We put it
Mhm.
on the market yesterday. Let me know if you'd want to do a showing and just building that rapport with people.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not a real estate agent, obviously, but I would have thought the same thing that people would be like, almost like, oh, I'm out to get clients, so I'm not going to be, connecting. But that does totally make sense. There's, enough pieces of pie for everybody out there if you're thinking
Absolutely.
about that, buying and selling. And like you said, you have family, you have friends, referrals. I'm sure from the cleaning business, even there's
Yeah.
people that when they decide to sell, whether it's their home or business, that you would need those connections with the other realtors, just like any other type of business. You always think the more people you know, the better. But I would have thought
Absolutely.
the same about real estate, that they were all competing against each other as opposed
Yes.
to collaborating.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool to think of it like that. How can people connect with you if they're thinking they want to sell their house? Or maybe it's a real estate agent who has a buyer and they are
Yeah.
thinking, let me see what Krystal can do. Where do they reach out to you?
Same thing. I have Facebook and Instagram. It's Krystal Muir, EXP Realty. If you want to add that link in there as well, my phone number's on there, my email, my office number. They can direct message me, however is convenient for them. Even if they just have questions, they want to know what the market looks like, what's out there. Happy to help.
Awesome. I will definitely, for my listeners, put all of that in the show notes so you can connect. And even if you're not in the market right now, you should connect because you never know. You just don't know what
Yeah.
is going to happen. I think it's really important to get to know the person that is going to take you around to see these houses or sell your house, because it sometimes can be exhausting. I remember, oh gosh, my oldest is 20 now, so when he was going to be born, thinking, I don't think I'm ever going to find this right house. And I always felt bad with our real estate agent that I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't love any of these and we got to go again. So you got to build that rapport and get to know someone. So even if they're not technically in the market yet, they can still follow you and learn, because I feel like you were putting part of your journey in there too, right? Like you
Yeah,
were,
I like to try to keep it interesting and not just, the same thing all the time.
right.
If nothing else, it's a good conversation to, whether I had somebody on there who kind of disagreed with me that, I posted a fun little Eagles thing.
Okay.
Clearly the gentleman was not an Eagles fan, and that's okay. So I just said if he's ever open to conversation, I'm always open-minded now.
Right.
Be happy to change my mind. Tell me
Oh,
what's so great
we're
about
not going to
whatever
have anyone
team you
change your mind about the Eagles. And
definitely not, but I'm
yes,
definitely open as to why you don't like them so I can hear
right.
more about it, but let me
Right.
change
So
your mind.
funny. I actually have a couple of people that I collaborate with, not necessarily people on my social media, but people I get to work with. And they'll message me being like, no comment from you, like after that Giants game. And then when we win, I'll send a different text message to them. But I think it is fun just to,
It is fun.
put that life in there. And you're always going to have the people on social media that, feel like they have to prove their point to you or something, but to be open minded, have that conversation. And if nothing else, Krystal, it gets the algorithm moving and they're like, oh, people are commenting. We don't even know what they're saying, but we're going to show more people this. So I'm always
Exactly.
like, all right, unless you're a complete psycho and I ban you from my business pages, which admittedly I have some of those people blocked, but anyway, that's a different podcast. But it's always good to just have that conversation, and it doesn't have to always be about real estate or whatever it is your business is. So
Yeah, it's just fun, open-minded conversation of,
yeah.
different-minded like people, different people, whichever, just to have a conversation. Sometimes not knowing somebody is easier to talk to than somebody you do know.
Very true. I actually just shared something. I think it was actually on my trial reel. So if people follow me, they're gonna be like, I didn't see that unless I share it to my regular Instagram. I had seen something that someone wrote. It was called the 5-year stranger rule. When the people you are closest with right now, I was really connecting with this, maybe because my kids are like ending high school, they're in college, it's so different. And, my youngest being in high school now, the rule, and someone made up this rule. I don't even know if it's based on an actual study, but the rule concept was the 5-year stranger rule. The people that you talk to every day now, your neighbors, the people you work with, the people you may be on the sidelines with, if your kid's involved in some sort of activity at the gym, the Wawa, wherever you are, the 5-year stranger rule is many of those people are not going to be in your everyday life like they are now. Some relationships may still stay there and it shift and evolved. And then others just completely disappear because you're going in different directions. And then new people are coming in, and that's okay because that's growth. And it's not necessarily like you're cutting these people off sometimes maybe,
Right.
but I think the same thing is true for when people are connecting on social media or working with you. And maybe 5 years from now, somebody else, and you 5 years ago, like that whole kind of thing. The more connected you can be, the better. There's a lot of debate, I guess, with social media and all that stuff. But I thought it was interesting thinking about that with that 5 year. It kind of goes back to, does this matter 6 minutes from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now? Same kind of concept.
Yeah.
You just never know who's going to come into your space and need you in any capacity. Well, those who are listening, make sure you go and connect with Krystal. And if you're interested in mindset coaching, I will drop my links there as well, and we can talk about it. I will tell you that you'll see on my website that it's 15 and older. I will take on clients in that age range, but I need a parent call first. So don't be sending your kid to me without us talking, because I've had that happen a couple times. I'm like, yeah, I need to actually talk to someone you live with first because you're 15. But most times people get that and it actually says parent call. But anyway, I will drop those links as well. We could talk about so many different things. And I do want to just say before I get to my last question that I am incredibly proud to know you and to have seen your journey and just continue to watch you jump in and do things. And I hope that you acknowledge that because you really are the one doing the work.
I do. Thank you. I'm proud of the journey I've taken as well.
Good. And I'll continue to be your hype woman. Make sure you keep updating me. Just like the stranger rule, we knew each other a little bit through sports, just being down at like a local football field for those who are not near us. We didn't really know each other before we started this mindset coaching together. And it's really honestly been truly an honor to just get to know you a little bit better and see that journey. I'm always so excited for you. So keep going.
Same here. I was actually able to switch your name in my phone when we started this journey from Kate from Snack Bar to Kate and your name.
That's so funny.
Proud of that moment.
Funny how we save people like that. There's some people on my phone who it's like Kylie's like soccer team, like, from way back. I'm like, I have to change. Like these people are like people I hang out with, and Kylie doesn't even play soccer anymore. So it's like, it's funny how that Kate from Snack Bar is so true. Those who were in that range of my 5 years, actually 10 years, I lived in that snack bar. So
you did
that, and people would call me T-shirt Kate because I was always selling T-shirts for the sports teams. It was to the point where I had to tell people like, I'm no longer there. Like there's a new T-shirt lady. They're like, oh, what? So funny. Snack bar Kate. I love it. All right. Well, I ask everyone this question, and I'm excited to hear your answer here. If you were the main character in a movie called The Champion Within, we're watching the movie, we're like right in the middle of all of it, screen goes to black on a cliffhanger moment. What do you think the audience is screaming, writing on social media that they want you to do next?
I think that is going to be the answer to my question is, what will she do next?
Oh, I like that answer. So they're all going to be wondering, what will she do next? And
what will she do next?
That aligns with you and everything that you always do. Because what's she going to jump into next? Well, I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. I can't wait to see what you do actually do next. And I think there's so many possibilities, really.
That there is. Endless possibilities, I like to say.
Yeah, definitely true. And if we go back to what I looked in the beginning, if I believe the positive about me as much as I believe the negative about myself, then every and anything was possible. That really just goes, that's what you told me at the end of one of I asked like for a testimonial or something. And that was one of the pieces that you were so true with, what is she going to do next?
Yeah. What's next?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Krystal, for hanging out today. You're very welcome. For all of my listeners, go down to the show notes, click on the links and connect with Krystal and follow the show and share this with people if you enjoyed the episode, and have an amazing rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.